All right, okay. A hip hoppity. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen out there, right? Shout out to y'all, my almost 500 strong who listen to this podcast. 1 year anniversary, man. Oh man. And it started, ladies and gentlemen. It has begun, to take that phrase from dude from Mortal Kombat. If y'all ain't watched the original Mortal Kombat, of course it was lacking on some animation and some CGI, but it don't matter because video game geeks, nerds, whatever you want to call them, freaks, however we use our classification ability wrongly. Oh man, 1 year, ladies and gentlemen. I started out so scared. Fear. See, God has not given us the spirit of fear. Power. Love and a sound mind. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all welcome into a different view. Hey man, off we go. When we first started this podcast, we talked about how to train, first couple episodes in, the train done left the station, y'all. The plane is off the ground. And we flying, y'all. We flying high to that which has made us, right? When anybody dies, you'll hear it. Catholic churches and other churches adopt certain things from older churches who say things, or older, I should say. Since I am a Marvel fan, I think it's better saying it this way. Other versions of the church. So Catholic is a version, okay? An undivided one that I believe, if you're going to put a word to what the thing is probably the closest to the OG as they use the title. Okay. Again, that's a human classification that we put that word on it, like we do God, like we do a lot of things that are of a spiritual base. Because again, it's humans trying to figure a thing out. This is one of these things we've tackled on this podcast in 1 year, y'all. The little year in review, and one shout out to the fans, man. Shout out to the listener, because this thing does not work without the. See, again, y'all believe in Massa and in his theology, in his doctrine, in her doctrine, and in her theology. God is greed, y'all, and greed dictates more for and less for. That is not the one that made this planet, y'all. The one made this planet is bounty unto all. We just read, y'all, John 10:10 last time we spoke. We're just going to hop right in, y'all. So in case you didn't know, the thief doesn't come. There's only a few reasons. When you see these reasons, y'all, you see the difference. See, Jesus trying to give you the play, man. Trying to give you the playbook, y'all. Rob, kill, steal, and destroy. I had seen something here again where folks are just strolling through my social media. Different folks' pages with people trying to big up Donald Trump, man. And everybody okay. See, every once in a while in history. Last time it was Adolf, right? Not as many people were behind Barack Obama because folks got a problem with black folk, not the policies. Let's stop it, y'all. Let's not, because every president do the same thing, man. It's for them, not for you. But they got to package it in a certain way that you believe them, y'all. So if the so-called Democrat drops the ball, here comes the Republican with the shine. Because again, we like the shine, but we don't know about that thing which is giving the shine. We're not looking at the source of which you're getting the thing. It's just, ooh. I'm a Family Guy fan. And for Christians, y'all can, again, this is the Sunday message. So we're going to say certain things on here you will not hear in the pulpit, but that should have been said on Sunday. So I am a Family Guy fan, right? Did an episode, I want to say making fun. Famous actor. We got the computer today. Me old rusty dusty trusty. It's not that old or rusty, but just to borrow a phrase. So there is a meme about a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. James Woods, the actor James Woods, good actor from back in the day, but they clowned on that man so on this TV show, man. This is to bring out this illustration about the shine. So, Peter trapping them because they just going back and forth. Peter Griffin just trapping them. They're going back and forth in battle. And again, I know the defense is in the mind. So if y'all have an issue, we get it, right? But this is to bring out a certain thing. So just a piece of candy, and he just picking him up off the ground. Not realizing that he's going toward a trap. And as soon as it gets to the end, the one piece of candy is tied to a string, and whoop, there you go, right into the trap. That's what people's lives are like, man. Y'all consistently keep going to retail stores complaining to the managers about stuff, but you won't go to the corporate office. Ooh, a piece of candy. Y'all are worried about what goes on in your parks and your recreational centers and all this mess. You won't go to your town municipalities. You won't go to your senator. You won't go to these people who are actually setting the rules. Y'all just go for that 2-year, 4-year vote every year. Ooh, a piece of candy. The groundwork for what is needed in this life. Y'all are worried about your kids doing certain things, but won't roll up your sleeves and get involved in their lives and in their hearts and their minds and be that guard for them. No, you'd be the first one to kick them out on the street. Oh, nope, you came up pregnant at 16. Get the hell out. That's what you've said, haven't you? Hold on now. Ooh, a piece of candy. What are we doing, y'all? Lord help us. What are we doing, man? No, the church won't stand up in front of these banks and in front of these hospitals next to these black communities and tell them, let my people go, no different than Moses. No, y'all sit there and play pauper for Donald Trump. Ooh, piece of candy. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? And then when the whole thing drops, now you'll be the first ones to complain. Now, see, I don't do on this podcast, again, this is what we're talking about. See, the banner, y'all, huh? What is the reason that this thing, what is the purpose for that which inside me gave me boldness to start talking to y'all? The spirit, we talked about this in Isaiah, that breath, that life of the Lord. We're going to go a little further here because it's, we can open up the Bible, as they say, and speak. I know I always do it anyway, but again, we can have a little bit more freedom because it's Sunday, y'all, right? Yeah, it's Sunday, right? The spirit, the life, the breath, the essence of God, the Lord God is upon me. What are your talents for, y'all? What is it for? What is it for? Where's the good news? Preach good news. Bind up the brokenhearted. Proclaim liberty to the captive, y'all. Open up the prison of those that are bound in the mind, bound in the sight, right? In your physical body, you got ailments. Let's go, y'all. Proclaiming the acceptable year of the Lord. See, again, and one of those years was Jubilee when you talk about Jewish culture. When it's time to rest, when it's time to let the planet repair, where you give back and repair and restitute those who've been stolen from y'all. We missing it, man. We missing it, man. The day of vengeance of our God. Now, not getting involved in us bringing vengeance for God. We talking about, hey, y'all are doing wrong to people we shouldn't be doing wrong to. There is a penalty for that. And it's not us bringing the penalty, y'all. You can clearly see in life how life looks, what we are doing to each other, man. Anyway, I mean, y'all want to get caught up on the spooky and, get stubborn from that kind of standpoint and not change. Hey, that is your choice. Again, like we say on this podcast, we're going to keep saying it regardless of who believe it or don't. It is your choice to each your own, right? You've got for me and my house, we choose to serve the Lord. See, that's one of the each for their own. For others, it's the opposite. That's all right. It's your choice, right? On this podcast, we are unequivocally going to stand up in defense for the homosexual and the transgender person, for those who are of the LGBTQ plus community. Jesus has told the woman caught in adultery. I know what Christians do, and that's all right. Y'all keep going with it because it's adding enough seats to your pews, right? Y'all want people, we want these converts, don't we? For those who lead, you must serve first. I'm just talking about what from what I'm reading in the scripture. Y'all want to look at it a different way? This is the problem to begin with. So we'll just keep going on that merry-go-round because it's working. It's clearly working, right? To comfort those who are mourning, y'all. Can y'all comfort? Can you? Is there enough in you? Intestinal fortitude, And there's a song back in the day, listening to it, because again, I'm trying to revamp how I've listened to music, because again, I realize gangsta hip hop has been the destruction of my so-called dear black brothers and sisters, right? A lot of this stuff glorifying sexualization now listen to how I say this now. Because I know people got this problem with the song WAP, and they got a problem with this, that, and the other out there that normally has to do with the uplifting or the showing off, I should say. Let's just say it that way, as my New York accent came out there. The showing off of the female. Normally when that comes out, there's always a problem. But a man knocking down a couple chicks in the street, and I could say it a different way, because that's how we hear it on the songs, y'all, right? That kind of thing, that's okay. That's accepted. I know why, because this male-dominated thing has allowed men to get lazy where it comes to dealing with women. See, this is another thing that we talk about in this podcast, y'all. And again, same thing for the women. We're not just giving the pass for each other, y'all. This is, because you hear me, it's another thing going forward. Because you hear me say certain things does not mean I'm giving a pass on the other side, right? That's another defense in the mind. That's another one of those defenses in the mind. That's not what we're doing here on this podcast, y'all. There's no defense for us, man. Again, what do I continuously keep saying from what I'm reading in the Bible? Not just for me. All have sinned. So if all have sinned, all have sinned. If there is if there is none righteous, no, not one. Guess what that means? Now, just because of that does not mean we don't have or have not been given the challenge and responsibility to operate in righteousness uprightly. Do right toward folks. Can you do it, y'all? Can you challenge your government to do right toward people? Because it's the only purpose that government is there for, is to do right toward all people. Let's see again, cut out the excuses. That's another one of these things we started off on this podcast about. Can you make excuses for the other way? I know we do it, man. You talk about with Donald Trump, Lord, people doing it. They got the excuses lined up a mile wide, like you waiting at Walmart for this after Thanksgiving, which I'm done on the Black Friday thing. That's another thing on this podcast, y'all. I'm sorry for that's cool. How y'all dig it. That's all right. Folks can wait online to run each other over to go get a TV and all that garbage. See, because again, you will allow your government and your towns and stuff to set up this mess. You're okay with it because they know you greedy. They know you sipping after the syrup of massa. So you're going to do the same things they do. They run over each other, man. Y'all watched that movie 2012. Didn't you see people getting on that boat, running over each other? I'm talking about pushing each other off to their death. That's what greed looks like. But do you know what it looks like when we all trying to all get on that boat, though? No. That's people helping each other. That looked the other way around. Somebody else would die to make sure somebody can get on that boat. Y'all don't. You see, you ain't got it yet. Y'all ain't got it yet. But when you do, that thing gonna look so beautiful. Man, we gonna look good, man. We gonna look good. We're gonna look good. We're gonna go a little further in this passage because I know people get a little silly when they hear certain things from me. We understand. Again, we understand the defenses in the mind, y'all. Okay, so here we go. To appoint them that mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes. Can you do this stuff, man? We're talking about the ability you've been given. Not God doing it. You've been given it from God to do. Can you do it, ladies and gentlemen? Can you tap into that power? Let go of yourself enough, even to your own detriment, to give somebody beauty for the ashes that are on them, y'all. You know what them ashes look like? See, this is why I like this movie, Civil War. So, because you're seeing the visualization. So we escape and run away from the visualization because we suffer from DID and cognitive dissonance, y'all. So again, we in this month that deals with PTSD. It's time to challenge the mind, y'all. Deal with your heart and soul. I know we like playing this little game of this is over here and that is over there and God is only in 3 parts right here. And then there's this. See, I'm going to proclaim it. Y'all have missed it. Yeah, you want to tell me this is the base where we start in the Holy Trinity? That's fine, but God is multifaceted, just like you are. Because you're made in God's likeness, right? If that is the case, then there's multiple parts to God. Just like there's multiple parts to you. Can you tap into the one that gives beauty? This is going for men as well, right? Can you beautify the man who has been dusted? Yeah, we're getting closer to Father's Day. Yes, I must say it. Can you give beauty to the man, male, who has been dusted and covered in the ashes of this war-torn life? Can you do it? Can you help him see the beauty through it? My God in heaven. Woo. But when you get it, man, it's so powerful. It really is. The oil of joy for mourning. Doubling down on this morning thing. People are mourning today. Y'all, can you help them? You got the ability in you. Can you do it? That's the thing. Listen to the question. Yeah, the ability is in you, but can you do it? Will you do it? And this is why in life we suffer, y'all, because we are unwilling. Man. It's time to get willing, y'all. It's time to leave behind this mess. I don't care which one of these morons they put up for y'all to vote for. Are they doing the right thing by you? I don't need nobody inspiring riots in Charlottesville, Virginia, y'all. I also don't need nobody using transgender people as a weapon to push sexual imbalance. Using these people trying to be free as a way to bind the rest of the planet, because that's what goes on by the time you start putting ism on the end of everything. I do hear y'all, black people. I do hear y'all. And we saying, listen, the government uses anything. They are driven by greed. This is not a holy thing. There's something that needs to be redone in it. No different than the reconstruction period in this nation. See, it's another thing we've talked about in this podcast. We're not shying away from it, y'all. It's time to embrace it. It's time to talk about it, because it's where the salvation is. You need to understand how many dear black brothers and sisters actually put this nation on its back. On its back. While other people were sitting in rocking chairs in plantation houses. They forcefully put it on their back, and some of them also willingly. And some of them were also tricked in it. Folks who already lived here on these lands, and we will continue to give you information on it. It's little by little. Too many people thirst after information and not after information to be able to change anything. They thirst after it to continue this garbage. So we just don't pass off the information frivolously. It's necessary. There's a difference. But know this, people were here on these lands. And your ancestors, our ancestors, killed them, tortured them, raped them. Again, I put this explicit thing on here for a reason, y'all. And we'll put trigger warnings for different things where these words affect folks, because again, we're talking about, can you give beauty for ashes, y'all? They did all that to these people. Robbed them of their self-worth and their dignity. Do you know what that feels like? Some of y'all do. And that's why you got a lot of people now, especially to my so-called white brothers and sisters, who are walking off the battlefield and they're starting to be with people of darker skin tones. Congratulations to y'all. That's for real. That's for real, because the game has been set up for you to be separate and kill other people. I'm sorry. Anyway. Spirit of praise, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. This is all these abilities you've been given, that they might be called trees of righteousness. This is what happens to folks. See, they turn from all these things that you've heard so far here to now where they walk uprightly. Strong trees. Y'all seen strong trees when you walk on these hiking paths and in parks and stuff. Big old trees, leaves, big old, right? We look at Yggdrasil. That's a Norse mythology tree, big roots, right? Goes forever. That's what we're talking about, y'all. That's what this analogy is giving. The planting of the Lord. That God may be glorified, y'all. Again, this is from a Christian standpoint, but again, we're talking about that which is good, that you see that which is good on display. That's what God is, an acronym for God, goodness on display. Also, this glorified, when you hear the word glory, when you see it, it's talking about where you see. It's almost like when something bursts and explodes, and you see those little particles that explode off and all that kind of thing that's coming from that explosion. That's what glory is dealing with. It's dealing with this, the thing you see after that deals with that explosion that happened. It points back to where it came from, y'all. Stop forgetting where y'all come from. Again, at the same time, to my dear black brothers and sisters, the food we eat here, you must realize that it was slave food. While we have such a connection to it, and some of it tastes good, understand that it was their design given by Massa to kill you. Because it was the low food. They were eating the good food. Dare I say, even the house Negro was eating some more of the poor food, even though they were in the house with Massa. Do not be bought, ladies and gentlemen. Bought Negroes, house Negroes, y'all have some of the most dangerous mindset. Because you assume that when Massa is sick, everybody's sick. No, Massa's just sick. Y'all ever heard that expression before? Let me say it in a different way here so y'all understand. It's been said before by our dear brother Malcolm X. Oh, hey. These are the house Negroes coming out to the field and he goes, oh, hey, y'all heard today? Y'all heard today Massa not feeling well. We not feeling well today, y'all. And the field Negroes looking back at him like, we not feeling well. I'm feeling as good as can be. This is my retelling of the story, y'all. You gonna put Massa sickness on me? And this is what we've been doing, y'all. Keep your own sickness to yourself and find your healing for it. Stop spreading it to other folks. Allow other people to help you be healed from your own sicknesses and ailments, right? But don't go spreading that mess around into other people's souls and minds. They're going through enough. Again, can you open the prison to the bound, man? We're not talking about kicking them back in the cell. And this is what Jesus was talking about all these books later in the Bible. While we got a problem talking about the Apocrypha and all that kind of thing, we're going to X out books, right? So so you come all the way full circle into the New Testament, and you've got, and right in the first book in Matthew, right, toward the end of the book, Jesus telling people that you've made folks twice the child of hell, trying to convert them. Never mind. We have read that on this podcast before. They shall build the old way. So a while ago we had spoken on the rebuilders, right? The repairers of the breach, because we got about 7 minutes here, because I'm not going to keep y'all long. All right. They build old wastes. They shall build the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolations. They shall repair the waste. Yes. Hey. They shall repair the waste cities, the desolation of many generations. My, oh my. How many of our griggity greats died? You want to talk about a Memorial Day. How many of them died at the hand of other ancestors coming here with lies on their mind? You know, Rihanna made a song called Love on the Brain. Pretty cool song. A lot of soul in that system, right? Coarse and colorful language is used, but still illustrates a point. I know how y'all feel, what is cursing and what isn't. Again, y'all wishing people to have a bad day. That's what the Bible is talking about, cursing. And you know a whole lot of people do that, right? A whole lot of people do that, man. That's cursing. You want to tell me other ways of speaking and using other different words and different forms and stuff like that, we can have that conversation. But cursing, as it was originated, has nothing to do with the colorful 4-letter words we use today, y'all. That has something to do with you literally cursing a person and damning their day. treating them in such a way to make sure that they have a horrible day. That's a curse. Like you would put a spell on someone. This is for real, y'all. Because again, we're talking about using the energies, magic. We've talked about that on this podcast before. We referenced the Halloween episodes, which it is a holiday. A very cool and awesome holiday. No different than Memorial Day. But I digress. Where you honor those who have passed, y'all. Can you do that? Can you honor those who have passed? Can you look in pit? Never mind. We ain't even going because we reference the episode, y'all. Right? Rebuilding this thing, man. And strangers shall, this is verse 5 in Isaiah 61, strangers shall stand and feed your flocks. You know how nice you got to be to just have random folks come up to you? There's a thing that my wife put up on her page talking about this same kind of idea. Shout out to you, honey. She's had to deal here with me, as well as other families and friends. Shout out to my day oneers out there, man. Shout out to Spotify for podcasters, right? We give credit where credit is due around here, y'all. That's the point. And the more of us that start doing it, the easier life can begin and becomes. You need a platform where people can speak the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Not this fluff you hear it. They sit there and tell you numbers on the stock market, realizing that the stock market is full of folks trying to steal money from folks, man. This is why Jesus, listen, you know what? Let's just get into another verse here because we've kind of made our point on Isaiah. I was looking at this, Matthew 21. Because I still got these up, like I told y'all, some of these is hard for me to, I keep them up on the thing here. Yeah, is this it? Yeah. So, first of all, we read you that story about the two sons. This is a while ago here. And which kind of son should we be? How should we be to our parents? How the parents should be to their kids. And we're going to get into the prodigal son thing for Father's Day, because fathers need to be more prodigal son father-like and less overbearing. We gotta talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't, no light is shown on the issues. And when there's no light shown on it, guess what continues to happen? See, this is where you get the word insanity from, another condition in the mind, where you keep doing the same thing, thinking you're getting different results. And you don't. Time to do it a little different, y'all, right? Oh, before all that, the chief priest, man, these folks, y'all keep what? Matter of fact, there is is it in this verse where Jesus says that they are leaven, basically in bread baking. You want to be careful as to what you add in your bread so that it rises and looks all good and yummy. And I don't know if this might not be the verse here. This might not be. All right, let me just go on here with this and continue talking about a thing here. So yep. And when this is Matthew 21:23, and when he came, when he came, okay, again, English, when you're dealing with old school English, y'all, you got to put the upgrade chip in your mind. Because you got to use the upgrade, or I should say it this way, you got to use the upgrade chip already in your mind to understand what is being said here. When he was come into the temple. So when he came to the temple, the chief priests and elders of the people came to him and asked him, came to him as he was teaching and said, by what authority do you say these things? Don't y'all know people like that today? See, but look who it is who asked the question. While in church, that was the temple, the mosque, the mosque that we keep blowing up because we think that Muslims are so unholy, right? So, because again, we like to lump everybody in the same thing. The same reason why black folk can't rise to power, because for some odd reason, folks are hating on them for their dark skin color and their curly hair and their big nose and wide forehead. Because this is the only reason, when you look throughout history here, these are the only reasons why these people, this is the only reason why the explorers, the words we use, right? The explorers and the colonists, again, invaders, right? This is the only reason why this is like this, because there was no need to change. Shout out one time to New York, where I'm from, y'all, huh? Amityville, New York. We're bold on this podcast, y'all. Right? Yeah, we from the land of the Amityville Horror House. Okay, the land. They're like changing the words. We use cities and towns and all this. The land. Use the land you're from, right? I know it's archaic and we put it away, but sometimes it's good to bring it back. From the land of Amityville, okay, right? New York one time. Why did it have to stop being called Old Amsterdam? Where did that new mess come from? I think we may have talked about this on this podcast. Y'all have to be careful See, again, talking about the stranger. The Bible goes back. We're talking about the things where it connects. Talking about strangers. Go back into Exodus. You will find the story, or it might be Genesis, excuse me. You will find the story of Joseph. And there's this idea where the family sells. There's this story here where the family sells Joseph off, right? Lord, you can go on days on that. Family do some wild stuff to each other, y'all. And it's funny how they'll sit there and they'll tell you that, blood stronger than water and all these kind of things. Y'all, listen, if people are treating you wrong, it don't matter whether you're related to them or not. I got to say it boldly so folks stop falling in the pit trap. So you'll stop falling for the trap. If your family is no good to you or treats you wrongly, I should say, you better stay away from them. It doesn't matter whether they hooked you up with the wrong person in your life, because we all know we got a brother, sister, cousin, uncle, mother, father. Don't matter who it is, right? You got to treat that with a certain level. Listen, we give them respect as to who they are in our family, y'all. But you're not going to mistreat anybody just because you're related to me. Somebody got to get that on the inside of them, man. Woo, Lord. Yeah. Somebody, don't God deal like that with this family, right? Look at the human. We're not just doing wrong to each other and going on about it like it's okay. I know we're trying to do it, but look at how screwed up it looks, y'all. Everybody about this whole thing with felons. And of course, a felon would try to set up something so that they could get away with their own stuff, y'all. So why are we bigging up Donald Trump about making some felon mess? Don't you see this whole land is full of felons? They got to make an excuse for the sickness they do to everybody today. That's no accomplishment. It's a horror. Meanwhile, while they play this sick dance of happy feet back and forth with the felons, you got certain felons couldn't find a job if it was slapping them in the face every day. That's because of the stigmas that have been put on. Now, check this out. If the laws was made for Mr. Trump to be able to help the felons then why don't you go back? See, again, we're talking about making sure the checks and balances are checked and balanced better. And that power lays in the hands of the... See, I said we're not doing the election day episode. We're going to be quiet, just like we are during certain holidays so people can rest, y'all. Same thing in your mind so you can think and ponder. And look at the mass hysteria that goes on around you with that. Look and see, why do y'all think it's like that? But I digress. So will you go and big up, right? Shout out, push this man's way of thinking, not realizing he is operating in the same doctrine of Massa, where it is for them and not you, no different than any other group in the government. Because that's the name of the game, y'all. It's what built this thing from before 1776, and it is the type of ideals and mess that will continue it on until people stand up and say, hey, what about me? And formulate, not in violence, but in peace, legal ways to bring before the highest court of the land, no different than they do the opposite way around. You want to talk about everybody's eyes was glued to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard for all those months. I want to say it was last year, the year before, man. When they start bringing certain things before the UN, y'all, we're not talking about the Supreme Court, man. We're talking about the world. This is an issue that goes on across. Never mind. When y'all, some of y'all on here understand what I'm talking about. And I'm not just talking about reparations. I'm talking about all the different horrors and atrocities across this planet. When we get there, y'all, that thing gonna look awesome. I'm being for real. We're talking about the thing that helps governments, helps recreate governments. No different than when you go back in history and you see them change party lines and all this. Same thing, yo. By whose authority do you do these things? Going back to Matthew 21, I believe this is. Yeah, 21 verse 23. Who gave you this authority? And Jesus answered and said unto them, yeah, man, we talking about, are you ready with the questions? Are y'all sure you're ready? Are you prepared? Right? Talking about that thing from the Lion King with Scar singing it, be prepared. Are you prepared, y'all? Who gave this authority? Jesus answered and said unto them, I will also ask you one thing. See, again, right? We're talking about in the nature in which they ask the things. So you got to be prepared. You got to read the room, y'all, right? This is why I put that thing up about high vibration on my Facebook page. Can y'all read the room? Do you know what it's like? Or do you just go in there droning like everybody else? Again, running over each other for some free TV during an after Thanksgiving Day special. That's what they boiled humanity down to, because y'all don't show them no different. It's time to, I got this little, since we do this, is another thing we used to do on this podcast, right? So we're bringing it back a little bit. These little statements, right? So here's one that came to me. A case has been made to why folks are due or are not due certain pleasures in this life, right? For those who have been let down and kept down without question. It's time to show them different, y'all. Can you do it? Can you put yourself around the information necessary to do it? I'll also ask you this one thing, and if you tell me, I'll tell you in likewise by where I'm getting this authority from. The baptism of John. Because back then they had a problem with John the Baptist. Most people do have a problem with the person who looks different than them talking something different than everybody else. They do, right? No different than folks have a problem with this podcast or any podcast like that. And again, we're not comparing ourselves to John the Baptist. That's not what this is about, y'all. We're just talking about who's speaking something different than everybody. From whence was the baptism of John? Heaven or people? Check this response, man. This is verse 25. And they reason with them saying, if we say from heaven, he's going to they already knew. See, most people that you talk to, when they come back at you with all this mess they keep saying, they already know. They got to say it the other way because they know the cat's out the bag. Y'all, they try to keep it in the... Never mind. From heaven, he will say unto us. If we say that John the Baptist's baptism's from heaven, he'll say unto us, then why don't you believe him? Things are coming from God, right? We're talking about the chief scribes and Pharisees and the elders. These people, the elders, the older folk, never mind. Y'all, the older people, let's say it this way too, the younger people who have gotten to a certain age to approach eldership, because that's what was going on. Because you got to understand how they set up their hierarchy back then inside the church. No different than the church today. Following after certain things they think they're reading in the Bible when they need to look at other ones. But I digress, right? So he's gonna tell you. He already know. Y'all already know the response. See, show me a sign, Lord. Show me it. You already know the response. Why aren't you doing it yet? That's the question, and that's a question to us all. See, so before y'all think I'm talking down to you, that's to everybody, right? Okay, just to level the playing field here. So that's what this is about, man. Oh man. Okay. And if we say of men, they knew the answer to the whole thing, not just part of it. If we say of men, we fear the people. Do you know how many different times that phrase comes up? From the chief scribes and Pharisees and elders and the Pharisees and the Sadducees. You know how many different times that comes up, that phrase, we fear the people? They fear you, yo. They fear y'all. Just give me 1 second while I take a little sip of the water. Hold. That's another thing we do on this podcast. Lord help me. If we fear the people, because we fear the people, they fear you. I'll take a study at that word fear. Excuse me. It's another thing we do on this podcast. And he said unto them, neither tell I, we fear the people, for all hold John as a prophet. People hold a lot of people trying to help them in high regard, y'all. And y'all keep knocking them down. There's already a level of camaraderie around these people. No different than Jesus. No different than Gandhi. No different than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. No different than Malcolm X. No different than the dear brothers and sisters that the Philadelphia police killed in that MOVE bombing in Philadelphia in the 1980s, right? No different than my native brothers and sisters who have died on this planet in various trail of tears, moved across this planet like cattle. People living here already, they already hold these people dear to them, y'all. In society back then, they held the prophet very dear because they helped them. They helped teach them certain things they didn't know about life, y'all, and they were being attacked no different than they are today. They answered Jesus and said, we don't know. I wonder where we see. Now, we cannot tell is old school English, but we don't know. I know nothing. Haven't we talked about this on this podcast before? Oh, wait, you telling me, KJ, all the way back before Jesus died, they were doing benign neglect? Yes, I am. This is what people do when they don't want to be right in their heart and do the right thing toward people. This is what they do. Okay? And I went a little bit over here, but so be it. I normally do. That's another thing we do on this podcast here. We're getting there, y'all. Again, stick with me. Sometimes you gotta say a thing, okay? And it takes a little bit longer than 30 minutes, but we will get there, y'all. Neither I tell you by what, we cannot tell. I don't know. So how did Jesus respond? He said unto them, neither I tell you by what authority I do these things. And that's where we're going to close. That's the perfect spot to close, y'all. We started off talking about relationships. We've had Halloween involved. We've had the 4th of July involved. We've had Mother's Day involved. We've had we've already had Father's Day involved. Things from battles and wars across this planet, things of sports of all types, whether sports or sports entertainment, as they say with wrestling. There's not a thing, y'all. We not gonna sex. It doesn't matter what it is, y'all. We talking about over here. Amen, man. Over here, like many of us here, and I encourage y'all to stand up, man. Do this thing. The things in life that would on your heart to do, stop letting fear stop you. No matter come what may, fail or fly, do the thing that is on your heart to do. Because time is short, man. 70, 80, 90, 100 years, that's short compared to life, compared to eternity, compared to forever, y'all. Come on now. That's what I got for y'all today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for walking this road here with me. My almost 500 strong, right? Viewing this podcast, listening with their mind and their heart. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, look to find the beauty. Look to find the beauty in a different view.